As we have celebrated this Catholic Schools Week, we have had two really great educator saints at our Masses. On Tuesday, we celebrated the feast of St. Thomas Aquinas, who is a great thinker and a great teacher in the church. He is actually the patron saint of all Catholic schools, which, as far as I can tell, is why Catholic Schools Week is this week. And then today we celebrate St. John Bosco, who also was a teacher. He is one of the most inspiring teachers that I have ever come across. John Bosco lived in Turin, Italy in the 1800s, and he ran schools, especially ran schools for boys. He ran boarding schools where kids would actually come and live at the school all the time. And in particular, he brought in a lot of orphan boys, boys that if they weren't at his school would just be running around on the streets with nothing to do. And so he was dedicated to those students. And what he did, as well as anything else, was, like our gospel says, he planted seeds. He planted seeds in the lives of these boys. He interacted with them in ways that would let them know he was a trusted person, someone that cared about them and loved them. He was a great athlete, and so he would use that as a way to connect to the kids, kind of like we tried to play volleyball yesterday, as a way of connecting with what we do, and plant those seeds that we are here to make this a good place for you, for our students. My favorite story about John Bosco is he was walking around the city one day, and he came across a group of boys who were out on the streets, and they were gambling. And, you know, like any good priest would do, John Bosco sat down and started gambling with them. Because, of course, if he had said, stop that, they would have just run away and round the corner and started gambling again and thought he was just some, old, boring guy. So John Bosco starts gambling with them and playing their game, and after a few minutes, he grabs all the money and starts to run away. Now, if you were an orphan who lived on the street and someone stole your money and ran away with it, what would you do? Chase them. It's exactly what they did. So these boys got up and started chasing him, but he knew he was a really good athlete, and so he ran back to his school and ran right into his church, and all these boys followed him into the church, and what do they see? A bunch of boys their age praying and reading and going to confession. And this group of boys that chased him there stayed at his school and were taught by a saint. He planted a seed in them. And the example of those other boys was a seed in them. They didn't understand it yet, but they saw it and saw something that seemed good, something that they wanted. And so that is our job here at a Catholic school, to plant seeds in your life that you can use and that can grow throughout your life, so that you can use the fruit of that growth later on and throughout your whole life. That's especially what we do with these learn, love, and act traits that we want you to follow. We want them to be seeds. We know you're not going to do them perfectly, but you can grow. So responsibility, for example. We know that you're not always going to remember your homework. You're going to forget it sometimes. But we want to teach you that that's a responsibility that you can learn. And later on in life, when you want to maybe ignore your work, you'll remember that seed that you got at St. Joseph. Forgiveness is one of those seeds. It is not easy to forgive other people, is it? Is it easy to forgive other people who hurt you? No, it's not. It's easy to hold grudges. It's hard to forgive. And so we talk about forgiveness to be that seed that we plant. Because if nobody ever talked to you about it, you would just hold grudges your whole life. But we want to plant that seed of forgiveness. And when we forget to forgive or it's hard to forgive, we remember that because it makes our lives better. Or that trait of joy. It's easy to be sad. It's easy to be angry. There are things that happen in your life, things that may have even happened already this morning that make you sad or make you angry. We want school to be a place that you can find some joy. And so we do fun things like Super Bowl, like wearing these jerseys, like things that are fun to help you remember that your school is a place of joy. Your Catholic church is a place of joy. Because as you grow through life, you're going to have other things that make you not joyful. And we want you to always remember that your Catholic Church is a place where you can find joy. And so we celebrate Catholic Schools Week this week in the example of Thomas Aquinas, in the example of John Bosco, because we, as your teachers, have found joy. We, your teachers, have found those things that can make life good. And we want to share them with you because we care about you, because we love you, and we want this Catholic school to be a place of joy for you also.